Bill, thank you so much for being willing to meet with me today. So happy about this. Oakhill is getting ready to celebrate our 55th anniversary, and we thought it would be a great idea if we could reach out to some of our former pastors and hear from them about what God did in their season of ministry at Oakhill. And so thank you so much for being willing to meet with us. So first, I'd like to hear how you got to Oakhill, how your call worked as you came to Oakhill.
The bulk of that committee kept on me. They knew me from the past, and they wouldn't leave it alone. And I said, "Have you guys prayed about it?" And they said, "Yes, we have." I said, "Have you?" I said, "No, because I'm afraid that God will lead me to go to Oakhill." We tossed it around for a few months, and then I said, "Okay, I'll come and preach for you. We'll let it go from there." And sure enough, God had his hand in it.
So you came and you followed God's call there. As you look back at your time at Oakhill, what were some ways that you saw God move during that time?
The bus ministry, because in the late 60s and early 70s, a lot of churches were involved in what they had called bus ministry. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that numerically, God had his hand on us because it increased quite a bit with the help of people who were faithful and dedicated in making visits, commitments on the part of the people that they were picking up to come to the church. I don't know just exactly how many, but I'm sure that there were a lot of people that came or became members of the church as a result of that ministry. Then there was also the Bible study that we had. We had 3 going at one time.
And where were those at?
And they were in homes.
In homes.
In homes. Okay. I tell them that the church exists for people who have yet to get into it.
So, Brother Bill, let me ask you, if you could say a word to Oakhill today, what kinds of things, or what would you encourage our church, Oakhill, to keep as the main focus as we're trying to continue the legacy of Oakhill going into the future?
Oh, I rejoice every time I get your newsletter. Whatever you're doing it right. You're reaching people. Remember, just be faithful to the Word. God will use your words, and the Holy Spirit will do the rest. Be open to God's leadership, first and foremost, and keep your focus on the Lord.
Could you tell me a little bit about your call to Oakhill, how you got to Oakhill?
When I came to preach for the church, the committee sat me down and said, "Now, here's what we want to explain to you. Some of the young people voted against you because you came and preached when they weren't here." And I said, "I think I can win them over." Once they got to know me, they knew I cared about them and put that call behind me. We had a drive-in theater that was nearby. And so we set up, we had the church van, we set where I could stand on top of that where everybody could see me. They set up the broadcasting system, and we invited folks to come very extensively, and would have anywhere from 5 to 15 cars there. And there were people who expressed great appreciation for it.
I also heard that you all did some creative things around Easter time as well.
This probably was the most significant thing. I had been involved in, I had been to Jerusalem and had seen the empty tomb, had a picture of it, shared it with Maurice Boltinghouse. I said, "Maurice, could you recreate that?" He said, "I think so." And he produced this, I think it's about 20 by 10 or 12 foot backdrop of the empty tomb with the stone rolled away, and he had a little place where the angel could stand on and give its proclamation. And we set that up, and we would run the two events of the ladies coming to the tomb and then the disciples coming to the tomb. This was very appealing and attractive, and every year at least one TV station would come out and film it and use it as a part of their preparation for Easter. I encourage you to keep on growing. I encourage you to work with your church staff to continue to be creative and to continue to be loving and caring in your outreach to the community. God bless you.
So talking about coming to Oakhill, I've been there 12 years. You were there 21 years.
Yes.
And I'd like to know, maybe could you tell me just a little bit about your call to Oakhill when you came?
Well, we were in the First Baptist Church at Mooresville, and then Oakhill called me and said, we'd like to come talk to you. And they came and they visited our church, and I talked to them, and they were very impressive. And they said, will you come preach for us? And I said, yes, I'll come preach for you, but I want to tell you, I'm probably going somewhere else. Anyway, I went there, and that day, as I stood in that pulpit, God just really spoke to me. And he said, this is where you're going to be. And we really felt God's calling there. And it's turned out that that was the place where we're supposed to be.
And so you came and you stayed 21 years. And
21 years, yes.
There was a lot of ministry that happened during that time. And I would be interested to know, how did you see God's faithfulness to you demonstrated through those 21 years?
It just over and over, God showed himself to us in ways. And he sent people to our church. It just, that young couples and the church just continued to grow. It was exciting. We started the Awana clubs for the children. And I gotta say, one of the things that's big too is one person doesn't do it alone. We had good staff. We surrounded ourselves with good people, good leadership. Over and over again, you always meet, I don't care what church you're in, you'll meet with opposition.
Sure.
That kind of goes with it. Satan always raises up his wicked head, But in spite of that, we just prayed. We had one miracle that was, of course we had several, but there was one that was just outstanding. We decided we needed more space because we was running out of room. And so the next morning I went to the church and I said, folks, I just got to share with you that we're building this building, but I really feel led of the Lord, and God has spoken to me that we're going to pay cash. Well, I didn't know how much we'd get opposition. We didn't get any. People got excited. We built the building in a year. We had a guy in our church that was construction, and we built it with cash. In a year and a half time, the money was always there. It always came there, and we never once did not have it. So that was the characteristic of Oakhill Baptist Church, and the things that was there, and the things that God did. It was just tremendous the whole time.
What are things that we need to remember if we are going to continue the legacy of Oakhill into the future?
Alan, one of the things that I'd say to you, Oakhill is unique in the sense that they're not stuck in any particular traditional fashion, So they're open. Don't live in the past. God's got a future for you, There's so much more that you can do. And if you camp someplace, problem with Israel is they camped and they didn't go on,
Right. You
can't do that. You just got to keep moving. You got to keep seeking God's will for the next thing, Right. And you say, God, there's some things that we just do. We trust you, and we step out on faith. And if He's in it, it works.